You know, as I go through my plant journey, I realize there's one thing that I have not been really discussing too much, and that's when to repot a plant. I just more or less show you guys some of my chores, which may consist of pest management and possibly uppotting or repotting a plant. But I've never talked or discussed the reasons as to why I'm doing what I'm doing, when to tell when it's a good time to actually repot a plant. So I'm just super excited to share with you what to look for or when it is time to repot, as well as how to repot your plant. Yeah, so let's just get right into it. I'm so excited, you guys. I forgot to tell you, hi, my name is Pam. Thanks for tuning into this channel. Welcome everyone, and yeah, let's just dive right into this thing. Okay, guys, so before we actually get into repotting, we're going to talk about some reasons as to why we should repot, discuss those reasons, and then later on I will show you two different plant specimens that I will actually repot, and we'll just discuss a few things as we go along. If it seems like this is something that you're interested in, pause this video and subscribe. And thank you so much in advance. So, let's talk about the reasons, you guys. One of the reasons that we know when a plant needs to be repotted is root bound. Now, how can we tell if a plant is root bound? Well, if you're seeing, I'm only going to use this as an example. It's not a root bound plant, but visual aids is always useful, right? So, you can always tell if you see roots coming out of the bottom of the pot. I've had instances where roots were actually wrapping up around the top of the pot. And of course, you also can confirm by just pulling it out, and you'll see that the roots will be wound up in the soil, and it's time to give it a size up or repot. Another reason, you guys, is compacted soil. Have you had situations, you guys, where the soil becomes so compact and compressed? What happens is it'll cause the roots to not be able to obtain any nutrients as we water. It won't actually absorb, and we're thinking that it is because we're seeing that it's coming through the drainage holes, but it's just not even being absorbed in the soil because it's so compact and it's not providing the nutrients that the plant needs. It's time to give it a plant up. I've had a few plants that I've learned the hard way that actually died, and I thought it was because of my care. But in actuality, all those times of me watering the plant, it wasn't getting any water at all. And it became, the soil was so just rock hard and unpenetratable. And that's just another reason why we should go ahead and that's to actually change it. Give your plant a new home. Now, another thing too, you guys, when you purchase a plant, I know this has happened to you somewhere in plant world because it's definitely happened to me. Two things that I've noticed when purchasing plants. Have you ever brought a plant home and the soil is just heavy, like it's just been sopping wet? If we are not, I've had that happen, you guys, and my plant declined because I never thought to get that plant out of the water, out of that wet soil. Is either get it out of the wet soil, or you're going to do some extra steps to try to dry the soil out. But for me, it's been in my best interest to just get that plant out of that soil, because when we buy from the plant shop or sometimes these nurseries, they don't put enough aeration into the soil sometimes, of course, which is understandable because their primary focus is to develop the roots. So you might, for me, I just remove the soil from it altogether, because chances are, more than likely for me, in my experience, doesn't have a lot of different other plant mediums to give it the aeration that it needs to even absorb or get rid of that moisture, if that makes sense. And then your plant journey has ended with that plant before it began the second you brought it home. So that's a good opportunity to actually take the chance and repot it right then and there. It's already kind of really in my mindset, the plant has already gone into some form of shock per se, because getting too much water than what it's requiring right now is causing it to get sick, potentially root rot and pest and other type of diseases and things. So it's best to probably get rid of the soil and just start fresh with your own fresh, dry soil to give it a fighting chance. Another thing that I've noticed too, and this is also what I've learned in my plant journey the hard way from watching declining plants that I may have purchased either face to face or even online. I don't fault the growers for this at all. It is something that we just have to be mindful of when we purchase the plants, and that's just those plant meshes and them plant plugs. I've noticed for me so far, I've seen the majority of those plugs and meshes with maybe, I want to say an Alocasia or possibly my aglaonemas. Earlier on in my plant journey, one of my aglaonemas that I don't no longer have because it died, I realized when I finally went into the soil, it had these like plastic mesh cups, and their roots were really big and robust, but what happened is the roots were confined and they weren't allowed to spread their wings and fly and grow beautiful for us. And I really do attribute that to one of the reasons, I'll say, to be fair, to the declination of that plant in that particular time. And so I do try to get into the habit of making sure I at least stick my fingers in there to see if I feel those plugs or not, because I know definitely I need to up pot the plant. Now you also want to make sure to up pot a plant because you don't want to stunt the growth. Some plants can grow fast and some plants do grow slow, but if you notice that the growth has slowed up a bit, or if you see oddly formed leaves, then it's a good time to actually pot up your plant. Because, or if you want your plant to stay small, you can leave it the way that it is. But of course, a lot of us is wanting our plants to grow big and beautiful and healthy, and so they may need an up pot. And if you start seeing, like I said, any declination in the leaves and things like that, and there's something funky going on, you might want to take a look at that soil, and it might be time, or take a look at their root system and see what's going on. One final reason that I've learned to pot or upsize a plant when it starts getting top heavy. You guys, our plants sometimes can grow a little bit at a faster pace than we even predict or expect. And I've had several instances, you guys seen me with my snake plant where I had to do a repot because the top was getting so heavy. Storm came by and just kept constantly knocking it over, and I just didn't want my plant babies to just break up into pieces. So I had to up pot it and put it in a bigger pot to stabilize it. And sometimes you have to do that, and it's okay as long as you're mindful of the soil and things like that. So now here's the fun part, you guys, where I'm going to bring you down here. I have two plants that I want to repot, and I'm going to just talk a little bit briefly about this as I repot it. So yeah, let's bring it down here. Okay guys, so the angle has changed. I have this. I'm about to show you guys two plants that I'm going to pot up, or up pot, repot. This one is an Alocasia. You guys, this is I don't know. Y'all let me know which one this is. This is either it's not a Bambino, or is it the Poly? I want to say it's the Alocasia Poly. You guys, honestly, I am not really into this plant. I would have never brought this plant for myself. I don't know, I always think of collard greens or something like that when I look at this plant. I don't know why. I have no idea how or why I even associate plants with food, but I guess it's okay because we do eat fruits and vegetables. But anyway, I was never really drawn to this plant. This plant was actually a surprise gift from a friend of mine's. They surprised me with this, and just the thought of someone even saying, hey, you know what, she's into plants, I'm gonna give her a plant, to put a smile on her face, kind of like just touched my heart a bit. So I am definitely going to give it a lot of effort to make sure I am well caring for this baby. I mean, I'm looking at it. It is a beautiful plant. It just, at first, it just did not, I don't know, it didn't speak my vibe, but I'm looking at it and I'm actually liking it more and more. So I'm grateful for my friend that even brought this plant, because honestly, if it wasn't for them gifting me this, I don't think I ever would have brought this, but it's starting to grow on me. So yeah, I'm super excited. She needs to be up potted because her roots are robust, and I just want to just put her in a better spot. Let me sit her to the side. As you can see, the fan is blowing and she's shaking a little bit. She's also a little bit top heavy as well. Now this other plant, you guys, is definitely reason why I'm up potting her is she's just too daggone top heavy, you guys. This is my Hoya Sunrise, which I've been growing her outside this growing season. She hasn't really gotten that much sun stress, which I mean, I'm a little slightly disappointed, but it's okay. I think when I bring her back inside and she goes underneath my grow light is when I'm going to start really seeing that beauty of the sun stress. So I'll just wait, but I want her to thrive and do her very best growth outside, so she will stay out for the remaining of the growing season. But she has become top heavy in this small, I guess 2, maybe 3-inch planter. I think it's probably a 2-inch planter. And so top heavy till you see I had to put a big pebble rock in her to stabilize her a little bit. So we're going to pot her up. I'm potting her up in this. So when you repot, you don't want to go a size up too big. You want to at least go no bigger than 2 inches than the original pot that you're taking the plant out of. And like I said, this is a 2-inch pot, I believe, or maybe a 3-inch. I think it's maybe a 3-inch, but either way, I'm only putting her in this is a 4-inch planter. I would not go up any higher than this, you guys, because of the plant type. Tip, you guys, know the plant that you're potting up. Know what their root system is about. Know what they like. For this particular, for all Hoyas love having their roots cramped. They love small, confined spaces. They love to be nestled inside their homes. They don't want a big mansion. They want a small dwelling so that they can grow and feel comfortable and nestled, and that's what they want. And so I am potting her up in this pot, no bigger. But to accommodate that, I want to also make sure that the soil for my Hoyas is extremely airy. So I'm about to put some soil here out of one of my boxes, and I'm going to show you guys. So this is soil right here. I try to keep it aerated. This is pretty much great for my aeroids. And but for my Hoyas, I want to make it even a little bit more chunkier than what you see right here. Right now, it's a combination of cocoa chips and cocoa husks. I have orchid bark and some perlite. It is airy, see, but because I am up potting it, and I know they love their roots being cramped, as an added measure for me, I am adding a little bit of pumice. I want it to be as airy as possible for this Hoya, for all my Hoyas actually. So yeah, I think, and yeah, just a little bit more. And I'm just doing that kind of like just for my comfort level, you guys. Whatever you do in your plant journey, you guys, you got to do what's comfortable for you, right? We can see people do a plethora of things and we get excited, and we can and we should be excited for one another, because our plant journey is our own individual journey, right? So the stick is a little bit, look at that. Let me break that up a little bit. Now, another thing, you guys, you should wait for your soil to be dry. This one is not dry because I just can't seem to keep it dry because we've been getting a lot of rain and it's been outside. So I'm still going to up pot it against what I'm advising you. Reason why I'm going to do it anyway is because, let me see if I can pull it out first of all, is because you see how fine the roots are? Very big plant, but the root system is fine. Fine root systems, I find it's best to just put it in the pot and put the soil around it. I don't usually, I've learned not to mess with these roots, not to do anything with the roots, not with the fine root system. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of soil down the bottom here. Not a whole lot because this pot is not that deep, which is fine, like I said, because Hoyas like to be cramped. I didn't want it to be a deep pot. So I'm just gonna plop her in like this, like so. I feel like I may actually have to take some of the soil out at the bottom so she can sit down a little bit deeper. Okay, so this is better. And I'm just putting her in. I'm not disturbing her at all. I just want to backfill her as much as possible. So you want to make sure you fill up all the gaps with the soil. You could use like a little shovel or something like that, but I get down and dirty with my plants, baby. Sometimes I do use a soil. It depends on how big the pot is. Since this is a small pot, I'm a little bit more intimate with my smaller pots, if that makes sense. So, and you want to definitely tap her because you want to make sure that the soil is going down to the bottom. If this plant was dry completely, I probably would then give her a drink. But since she is wet, I'm not giving her a drink. I'm going to still allow her to completely air out. I believe she will be fine. And plus, she'll be outside. And it has been, you know, we've been having a pretty hot summer. So she should dry up in no time. And see, that way, let me put a little bit more right here. You don't want to press hard down because you don't want to compress the soil. Remember, we talked about soil that's compressed, right? So we want to just slightly tap it down into place. And of course, smack it a little bit just to have it nestled. And now, I can still put her back in this cash pole that I had her in. And so that way she's no longer top heavy and I don't have to really worry about putting the stone back on here. I mean, I could do it for some form of a decoration. It's not really a decoration type of thing. So right now, for the purpose until I can move this pebble somewhere else or put it in one of my I'll probably put it on my plant shelf here where I got some of my gadgets and things for a later time. But Hoya Sunrise. Now, I will be sharing with you something opposite of what we just did. Hoya roots are fine roots. And as I made a mention, you guys, for my fine roots, I don't really mess with them too much. But when it comes to our aeroids, certain other plants have more of a robust root system. And so this Alocasia is becoming top heavy in a small planter. I want to give her room and hopefully she can branch out and she'll be in the pot for a longer time. She is somewhat root bound. You see how the roots are wound up and they are actually coming up. I could leave her because she still has some room till she gets up to the top. But Alocasias are known, as you can see, they have thicker root system than Hoyas and other small root systems such as peperomias and I believe begonias as well. But aeroids, they are like alphilodendrons, alocasias. They have a thicker root system. Even aglaonemas, they have thick root systems. And so without thick root systems, for me, what I tend to do when it's wound up is I will release some of the roots. I'm signaling to the plant, you can be free and grow more. And now she's thanking me right now as we do it, because it's almost like she was wearing a size 5 shoe, but her toes were 7 inches. So she feels free, you guys, to say the so to speak. So I'm gonna sit over here. I'm gonna sit her back in the pot. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this planter. I am potting her up. This is my little mesh plug that I pre-cut to cover the drainage hole here. But I am potting her up in this pot, you guys. This is a glazed pot on the outside and it's glazed on the inside. I chose this pot because, like I said before, you guys, know your plant. Know your plant, understand what they need, and they should thrive in your care. Alocasias, they like moist soil, but not wet. They don't like drying out 100%. What I found with alocasias, if you allow them to dry out 100%, not only are they not forgiving, but for some reason, that's when the pest starts getting introduced to them for some reason. I don't know why it's like that. I've noticed that's been the case, at least for me, with the little bit of alocasias that I have. So, because I know that they like moisture, and to make my life a little bit easier, because I have I have over 200 plants, you guys. So I don't have time to baby one plant out of the other 200 some odd plants that I have. So this kind of is my saving grace a little bit. The glazed pots hold moisture in a little bit longer. So even when I do water it, this pot will give me an extra day or two to go without having to water her, and she'll be loving her life, and then my life won't be as stressful either. So it's a win-win. So I just more or less just detangled some of her roots. I'm not going to mess with the soil. Reason why I'm not going to mess with this particular soil is one of the things I've learned in my plant journey, you guys, because I would buy a plant and I would wait the traditional suggested 2 weeks that they say to wait before you up-pot it. And I would do just that, 2 weeks on the dial and up-pot that plant. And then some plants would just decline. What I've learned, I have to sit back. Patience is definitely key. Sit back and wait. And what I've noticed is when I wait, I check out and see how well the plant grows in the medium. If I see that they are thriving in the medium that it was purchased with, I leave it alone and I add my own medium. The only time I actually see me changing the substrate, you guys, honestly, is if I see a whole bunch of decline. It would have to be a significant decline, and all of the reasons that we previously discussed, which kind of ties into this. But for the most part, this is just more of a cocoa peat type of planting medium. I'm leaving it at it as is, but I am using my potting mix as a backfill, which does provide good drainage. So I feel that the glazedness of this pot with the aeration of my soil will give it a sweet spot, a safe spot for her to feel comfortable, giving her the things that she needs and giving me the relief that I deserve with my plant care, right? So let's get her potted up. I put my little mesh plug at the bottom, you guys, And I have my soil. I'm just gonna see how deep I want her in the pot. I actually like that right there. Let's see. Let me turn around. Sometimes it's about position of the plant too. Okay, I actually like the way it's positioned. When I get some more soil, I have an actual bin down the bottom where I keep some soil in. Makes it easier for me to put it in this bowl. And you just want to backfill. Again, this was purchased, I think this is a 4-inch pot. This pot, you guys, this glazed pot, it is a 6-inch. So again, as we mentioned, no more than 2 inches. An increase each time. Try my best to center the plant, to hold it up until soil is around it, and backfill it until it becomes stabilized. And then you can kind of let the plant go. I hope I can keep this plant happy. You know, alocasias, you know, can really be tricky at times. So far, I don't have a lot of alocasias in my collection, but the ones that I do have so far, I'm learning them. You know, some are a little bit more challenging than others. Y'all know I'm struggling with my baby Alocasia Jacqueline. And you know, I'm very hopeful that I'll figure her out. I don't want to really give up on the plant. I'm trying to continuously figure out the strategy for that plant. And if she declines, which I hope she does not, I see me actually purchasing another one to give it a go again, because I'm so intrigued by the structure of the leaf till I really want to have that plant in my collection. So this one will be fun growing as well. So far she seems to be a very healthy plant. And so I just push it down. You're lightly just putting it in place. You don't want to push hard, just enough to keep it in place. And I'm going to give her a drink, and we're going to return back up at top and just show you guys these beautiful plant babies for one last time. Okay, and so we're back with my beautiful Hoya Sunrise and this Alocasia Poly. I think it looks cute in this pot. Isn't this a cute pot? I got this pot from Rite Aid, you guys. Rite Aid of all places. But don't sleep on them with the pots. I can't stress it enough. So now, you guys, we are going to water her. I have one of my plastic pots, 6-inch from the dollar store. And you want to water her until the water is actually coming out, to give her a good flushing. Want to give her time to drink. And now she's flushing. I have this, just going to let her drain. Just be mindful to pour it out when she's finished, and she should be good to go. So this pretty much ends this video, you guys. I hope some of you new people that starting their plant journey, you've actually pulled some information from it. Also too, for those experienced growers or intermediate growers, as I would say, If you have some additional reasons as to why you decide to repot or uppot a plant, share with the plant community, because knowledge is key, right? So keep in mind, you guys, if you love foliage as much as I do and you love listening to planty things, definitely subscribe to this channel if you have not. And please don't forget, you guys, do what? Push them up. These thumbs, push them up. It helps my channel, and I appreciate any and all support you guys give me. I love talking to y'all, chopping it up. And enjoy your day wherever you are in the world. Till next time, guys, much love. Bye.